On this episode of Locked on Angels, Joe Adell was a star on Sunday, and Zach Neto made a difference all weekend long. Plus, I rant about replay, and John rants about some bozo saying Zach Neto won't make a difference. It's time to get locked on with Mike and John, and this is Locked on Angels.
You are Locked on Angels, your daily Los Angeles Angels podcast. Part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked on Angels your first listen of the day. You can find us anywhere you get your podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and SiriusXM by searching Locked on Angels. And if you'd like to get back to the Super Halo Bros for all this Super Halo content, here's some things that you can do. Leave us a rate and a review on Apple Podcasts. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button. And if you're not subscribed already, please subscribe and become a Locked on everydayer. And whether you're watching or listening, come over to YouTube and leave a comment. It's one of the best ways to get in touch with us and be a part of the conversation. And this episode of Locked on Angels is brought to you by Monarch Money. You can take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use our promo code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year.
Happy Monday to you, and thanks for being here for this episode of Locked on Angels, where it's your team every day. You've got the First Brothers here with you, a.k.a. the Super Halo Bros. My name is John, and that's my brother Mike.
And my name is Mike, and that's my brother John.
Hey, we've been fans of this team for years. It's our fourth season as a host of Locked on Angels. We're talking Angels baseball Monday through Friday, every single weekday for you, and we're happy to be here with you. Happy that you tuned in, whether you're watching or listening. On today's show, recapping the weekend against the Giants. The Angels found their way back to some winning ways this weekend, Mike, and it wasn't pretty. It wasn't delicious. It wasn't good baseball all the time, but a win's a win. They won the series, and that's what matters most. They started off the winning on Friday, Mike, with a big return on a big weekend, all about big returns, right, Pastor Mike?
Yeah, Zach Neto was back from the injured list.
Yeah.
They designated Nicky Lopez for assignment. He did elect free agency. Johnny, these stats are disgusting. The Angel shortstops were hitting 150 with a 177 on base and a 167 slugging in the absence of Zach Neto.
It doesn't even seem possible to have a 167 slugging.
Maybe if I was playing, but not for these major league ball players. It was only the White Sox were worse in their OPS than the Angels, and so it was
at shortstop.
Timing. At shortstop, yes.
Well, that's ironic considering Tim Anderson has been our shortstop,
yes.
But not just Tim Anderson, also Kevin Newman, right?
Right. John, I love this. Ron Washington was joking about Neto's return. He said, I told him when he goes out there that if there's a play that he doesn't make, I'm just going to send him right back to Salt Lake. And Neto said, I ain't worried about that. So yeah. I love that, John. And he made a difference this weekend, didn't he?
Yeah, he absolutely made a difference. And I just got to say, before we get going, I just have something real quick, just something real small. I posted about Zach Neto coming back, reinstated from the injured list. Someone left a comment and said, oh, like he's going to make a difference. This team isn't going to do anything even with him on the team. I like him, but he's not going to make a difference. Well, turns out he won the game. He had the winning run in this one because he was the first one to score in his first at bat, had an RBI double, and he stretched that into a double, right, Mike? He slid in there, and that would have been the winning run, except they did add on later, so it was 2-0. And I just have to say, Homie carried the team last year.
He did.
5.1 baseball reference WAR. He's 23 years old, 20 plus home runs, 30 stolen bases, right? All this good stuff about Zach Neto. And so he is a difference maker, and he's been a difference maker. And don't tell me that he's not going to make a difference in this lineup, because even batting seventh, this lineup is way more stretched out than it has been all season long. Because you don't have Tim Anderson, you don't have Kevin Newman, you don't have Nicky Lopez. And don't get me wrong, Tim Anderson's been a pretty good middle infielder, right? He's played some second, he's played some shortstop. So I'm not going to pile on him. I know that we were frustrated with him being where he was in the lineup at fifth, but Zach Neto makes a huge difference in this lineup. And how about instead of just making a bozo comment, you say, hey, good for Neto. Glad he's back. Yeah. Hope he makes a difference. That's what you should say. I hope he makes a difference on this team, because they've been playing real bad ball. That's an objective, understandable statement to say, you know what, these guys stink right now. They need Zach Neto back in this lineup. And so that's exactly what ended up happening this weekend, helping them win 2 out of 3, especially on Friday.
Yeah, and he was the key to getting the offense started on Friday. Bottom 2 after a Nolan Shonowell double it was Neto who doubled, and it was a hustle double. He hit a shot to short, and it got over the shortstop, and it went into left center, and he hustled to get into second base, gave the Angels a 1-0 lead, and then Kairen Paris hit a ground ball in the hole at short. Matt Chapman missed it, and then Zach Neto ended up scoring 2-0.
Chapman ran right in front of Willie. It should have been Adames' ball.
Yeah.
And you don't see that often from Chapman, trying to be aggressive. Freaking Matt Chapman, dude. Ever since Oakland, he's gotten to us. And so I know he got to us on Saturday, but the thing is that he ran in front of Adames on that one and made a rare misplay for Matt Chapman.
Yeah.
Over there.
Hey, Matt, there's other hitters in this Halo lineup, unlike what happened 2 years ago when he was on the Blue Jays and they said, why are we pitching to Shohei? We should pitch to everybody else because they don't have another hitter. Remember that?
Ooh, spicy.
So Angels were up 2-0 on Friday. Johnny, that was all that they would need because Tyler Anderson was incredible, wasn't he?
What'd you say? Say it again.
Tyler Anderson was incredible, wasn't he?
I want to hear you say that one more time because if anybody's been a Tyler Anderson critic on this show, Michael, I think it's you, my friend.
It has been me, and we're going to talk about him more in depth tomorrow, just about like this hot start versus what he did last year and what to watch for. But John, 6 scoreless innings for this guy. Yeah. First time since July 6th of last year. He was matched by Logan Webb. Logan Webb was fantastic. Career high, 12 strikeouts. It is the Angels, so that's easy to do. He didn't walk anybody, and he allowed 1 earned run. But here's a great stat. Logan Webb and Tyler Anderson's combined numbers on changeups on Friday, 58 pitches, just 1 hit, which was the Neto double, 9 strikeouts, 19 whiffs on 33 swings, a 57.1 whiff percentage. They were both pitching really well on Friday.
Can I just say, and I know that we got the win. I know that we won the series. That's fantastic. And that's what we want. A win is a win. But Mike, I mentioned it was ugly, and it was very ugly.
Yeah.
Because why are these guys not fouling things off?
No.
They are hoping and praying and wishing and crossing their fingers to get ball 4. And every pitch that they try to get it on is way too close.
Yeah.
And they're relying on the ump to help him out. These umps aren't going to help him out. I know Laz Diaz screwed up on Sunday and Trout got that walk, but look, Laz Diaz was awful that entire game. So Trout was the benefactor of that. But at the end of the day, they're watching pitches borderline, crossing their fingers for ball 4.
Yeah.
Fight some pitches off, guys. You got to fight off pitch. You can't keep doing this. That's why there's been so many called strikes. That's why there's been so many punch outs. I know that they're swinging and missing too, but man, to keep watching pitches right there in the zone has been so frustrating. Yeah. That's what's changed over this last week and a half of this team.
Yeah. Now, Sunday was different than Friday and Saturday because there were 2 at-bats that were 10 pitch at-bats, didn't come to anything, didn't amount to anything, but the Angels did look a bit better on Sunday. But John, here's the reality. The pitching has been carrying this team, and this is what happens when you have healthy starting pitching. And Tyler Anderson, his last 2 starts, 11 2/3, 4 hits, 6 walks, 12 Ks, no runs. He got the win after this game, and I love this quote. He said, I feel like we just needed to turn the page after the series sweep against Texas and get back to being ourselves. The great thing about this group is that they feel like a bunch of resilient guys and everyone's having fun together. And not only was Tyler Anderson good, John, but the bullpen on Friday was actually pretty good, weren't they?
Yeah, Brock Burke pitched in the 7th. He allowed just 1 hit. Ryan Zefferjon followed him. He's kind of moved into the 8th inning Ben Joyce role. Remember, they talked about they're going to use him in high leverage situations. No hits and walked 1 and struck out 2. After that particular outing, Ryan Zefferjon has struck out 32 of the first 91 batters he's faced in the majors since last year. That's good for a 35.2% K rate. Wow. Kenley Jansen comes in. Man, Giants fans probably hate Kenley Jansen. And he got his 452nd save of his career, and his in this season he's had a lot of saves as well. Now, before the game, they asked Wash if he needed to get some work in, and Wash said, you know what? Today is definitely going to be a day to get Jansen on the mound because I know we're going into the 9th with the lead. Way to call it, Wash. There you go. I appreciate that. Now, it wasn't a great offensive game outside of Joe Adell getting 3 hits. Again, the Halo struck out 12 times, lots of hitters looking at strikes. The top 5 in the order were 0 for 17 with 10 strikeouts, and then hitter 6 through 9, 5 for 12 with 2 Ks. 3 of those hits came from Joe Adell, and they scored 2 runs in this game. So give it up for Joe Adell. I know that those weren't the winning runs, but at least he was productive at the plate.
Can I talk about what we have next? Because this was the most ridiculous moment of the game.
Oh,
Bottom
no.
8, Taylor Ward grounds into a force. He thought it was a double play. And so he circles around first base, and Bo Porter is yelling at him. And so is every fan and everybody watching the game, telling him to get back on the base. Ward doesn't hear this. Then he finally hustles back to first, and he's safe. Then he tries to get up because the ball got away to run. And Bo Porter is yelling at him and pointing to the base, stay here. It reminded me of that Altuve moment from a couple of years ago where Ward comes around first base. Altuve kind of dekes him, says he's going to throw it to him, but that was because the catcher was right behind him and they ended up tagging him out at first base after a single. And so it just was an unaware bonehead moment. And Taylor Ward's diving catch on Sunday made up for some of those unaware bonehead moments. But it was a situation where it's like, bro, I need you to be in the game. You got to be spatially aware and socially aware of what's happening. And you're just not. And there's a lot of times where it just feels like you're checking out. Dude, be aware. Be in the game. Stop drifting off into outer space, right?
Aloof, Michael.
That's the word.
Aloof.
Yes. Yeah.
If Cody Bellinger can stay in the game, then Taylor Ward should certainly be able to stay. Every time you see Cody Bellinger, it's whoa. I got it. Right. Listen, I love this tweet from Brent McGuire, Locked On Angels Hall of Famer, former host, of course, writing for MLB.com. He said the Angels needed 41 home games to record their first shutout at Angel Stadium last year. This year, it took them just 4 games to get there this season. At this point, they were 10-9, 3-1 at home, a win against a team over 500, and a win against a team that good feels really good. So we appreciate the fact that the Angels were able to take one away from the Giants. And that same night, the Dodgers beat the Rangers. So that was helpful to us, and we were helpful to them in the standings, of course. We're going to continue our conversation about the weekend. Thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. Coming up, I went to the game on Saturday, and I can't wait to tell you all about it. We're going to get into that conversation and recap what happened in just a minute.
Don't check your bank account anymore and ask the question, where did all my money go? Monarch Money is here to help you. They're your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. It's not just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all of your accounts, investments, and spending in one place so you can stop managing your money and start building wealth. Financial conversations with your partner are smoother than ever, and you can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without all of the stress. Take control of your finances and let Monarch Money help you out. When you go to their website, monarchmoney.com, use our promo code LOCKEDONMLB. They're going to give you 50% off. Not your first week, John. Not your first month, John. Your first year. Half off your first year. They're going to help you save money, and they're going to help you with your money at monarchmoney.com. Promo code LOCKEDONMLB. Get half off your first year.
This is the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. Hey, on Saturday, of course, it was Star Wars weekend. I've got this great buddy of mine. His name's Steven, who is a big Star Wars fan and has previously worked at Disney and Imagineering and stuff. But he's also a Giants fan because he's from the Bay Area. So it was like, hey, perfect birthday gift. Let's go to Angels Giants. Let's go celebrate. Mike, he bought a Matt Chapman jersey. And when he got it, the material sucked. So he returned it and went on eBay and found a Buster Posey 2010 jersey that was made by Majestic. Remember, Majestic used to make the unis before Nike took over, and then they licensed it out to Fanatics and stuff. So he's got this sweet Buster Posey jersey, and it's an away jersey. So it's perfect for when he goes with me to, Angels Giants at the Big A. So that was pretty cool to see. So we were sitting there with our Trout and Posey jerseys. We felt pretty cool in that. But I have to say, the best part of going to games is when we run into people who listen to the show, tune into the show, and are everydayers with us. First up, I'm walking up to security, and there's this awesome dude with a hat like mine, but he's got this Star Wars poncho. And so I'm looking at the poncho, and I'm like, that's pretty cool. But he looks back at me and goes, hey, podcast guy. So then I went up, introduced myself. So shout out to Rudy and his sweet Star Wars poncho.
Yes.
While we were waiting in line. And then behind right field, we got stopped on our way over to the Casa Modelo. I'll tell you about that in a second, Mike. But Manny, Monica, and Jesus stopped. We got a picture here with Manny on the right there and Jesus on the left. Monica took the picture. They were great. And one of the things I appreciated is that they said, hey, you and your brother, keep up the good work. And so it feels good to hear that, people tune in and believe in what we're doing. And believe.
It's not just mom and dad that listen.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, they wouldn't stop talking about it on Easter yesterday. No, I'm just kidding. So that was really appreciative. We really appreciate that, guys. So if you're on the video side, you can see that picture there. And somebody wearing a Dodgers Ohtani jersey in the background. Get out of here. What are you doing?
Bozo.
Come on. And then outside Casa Modelo, we were in line and I met Brian. I believe it was Brian. I hope I'm not screwing that up, but I did meet somebody outside Casa Modelo. Mike, next time you go to Casa Modelo.
Okay.
Get one of their quesadillas or one of their bowls with like the pork rinds in there. Oh,
so good.
Some of the best food at the stadium right now. Real good.
Johnny, I'm going to be there Wednesday. So everydayers that are there, look for me. I'll look for you. And apparently I'm going to go to Casa Modelo.
Yeah, you got to go to Casa Modelo. And now I know you don't drink, so you don't have to get a Modelo when you go, but you want to go for the food. That's the important
part. I'll get a Casa iced tea.
Yeah. And then we ran into Junior from Santa Ana. Shout out to Junior and his family. He had the kiddos there with him. Later on, his buddy Ruben joined them, and they said hi as well. So appreciate everybody who stopped us and said hi because, that's my favorite thing. Even when we did the Hoppy Bowl, Mike, it wasn't so much like, hey, meeting Logan was great. He's our BFF now.
Right.
Man, hanging out with the everydayers was top tier. So at some point, we're going to have to do kind of an everydayer event at the stadium. I think that would be really cool.
I'm down. So this game, John, had two guys in it that needed to rebound. The first was Mike Trout. Came into this game 1 for 22 with 14 strikeouts and 1 walk. Not good. Wash said the same thing that Trout has been saying about himself for years. He needs about 100 at-bats so he can start figuring some things out. He also added, and I think it's something that we haven't really considered, or at least I haven't considered. Remember that Trout hasn't played much in the last 5 years. So, seriously. I mean, this guy has not had the at-bats that he needs. And so to see him get going is something that we longed for. And boy, did he get going in this game. The other guy that needed a good bounce back was Kyle Hendricks. I'm going to start with him, John. He did give up a 2-run home run in the first to Matt Chapman. He hung a changeup and Chapman crushed it, gave the Giants an early 2-0 lead at that point.
I didn't notice this until afterwards because it was, it was hard to see where we were at. We were down the first baseline. And I was hoping to watch Trout in right field, but of course, the night that I go, it's Soler again in right field. And so I figured, hey, Soler played right field on Friday. Mike's surely going to be in there on Saturday. That didn't happen. But Mike, I didn't realize how bad the calls were on Kyle Hendricks to Willy Adames to walk Adames, and then Chapman hits that home run. If the umpire did his job correctly, then Chappie is only hitting a solo shot in that moment. So, you can't make excuses, but it is one of those very frustrating situations. And a lot of what we saw over this past weekend of just bad umpiring in general.
Hendricks is leading the league right now in location percentage, John. He is hitting his spots at a rate that's incredible. And so that's why when he does walk batters, you're like, wait, is that really a ball?
If you're gonna give Justin Verlander the Hall of Fame treatment, like Doobie was saying on Sunday, then give Kyle Hendricks a World Series winning champion pitcher, the World Series winning champion treatment because the guy's hitting his spots. So more likely you're incorrect and Kyle Hendricks is right.
Now he went 5 in this game, gave up 4 hits, 3 runs, walked 2, struck out 1. Just 63 pitches. It didn't seem like he was struggling. And then the last inning, he got the Giants 1-2-3. Was that a quick hook?
It's a quick hook, but I also, have we heard anything about Hendricks since that start? Like
no updates at all.
Yeah,
it's just been business as usual.
If anybody's going to, take himself, not that he took himself out of the game, but if it's 63 pitches, he had to have said something, Mike.
Yeah.
I think so. And perhaps maybe it was a third time through the order situation, which drives me absolutely insane. Yeah. I love my stats. I love my numbers, but the third time through the order, well, the average goes up the third time. Shut up. That's so annoying to me. But I have to say, for Detmers to come in and be
Yeah.
the long man, he did a really great job. And so I know we've piled on Detmers lately, but he
Yes.
kept the Halos in the game.
Yeah, Reed was actually really good in this one. We'll get to him in just a moment because I wanted to talk about Mike Trout, John. Bottom 4, he's in this slump, right? And crushes his 7th home run of the year.
Yeah.
Curveball, low in the zone. And that was the thing. The Angels were swinging over that or chasing after that. And Mike Trout made contact with that curveball on Saturday night. 435 feet, 115.4 off the bat. It was the same pitch that he struck out on in the bottom of the first. He adjusted, sped his bat up, and then he hit it out, made it 3-1. And then Johnny does it again. What was it like at the stadium with Trout hitting 2 home runs?
It was electric, man. And it was so great because I was just going, ha, 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 in Steven's face. But, that's because they were up and we were down. But, man, to see him hit that sinker, it was like the top of his shoes, Mike. 108.7 off the bat, 381 feet, his 28th multi-homer game. At this point, it was Giants 3, Mike Trout 2, because the rest of the Halos weren't doing nothing.
This was the affirmation that the pitching has been carrying this team over the last really 6-7 games.
Yeah.
Because in the bottom of the 7th, Logan O'Hoppe draws a walk. Now that's not notable if it's just a regular game, but the reason why we included that is because it was the first walk that the Angels drew in 31 innings. John.
Right.
Last
and that
walk
tells
was to Nolan Shawnoel the Wednesday before against the Rangers.
And
ridiculous.
That tells you everything you need to know about what went wrong over the last week. Now, after the 7th inning on Saturday's game, the Angels offense had 89 strikeouts and 8 walks over the last 69 innings.
Gross.
They needed the offense to wake up because, like you said, the pitching was really good and Detmers was really good. 2 2/3 innings, just 1 hit, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts on 38 pitches. That's the Detmers we wish that we could get all the time, but he's just so inconsistent that we can't rely on him.
Round of applause. I know that I've dumped on him and I said he's not going to be great. I want to acknowledge he did his job in this game. Yeah. And that was a perfect use of Reed Detmers on Saturday.
And look, 38 pitches across almost 3 innings. That's the Detmers that we need to see.
Yep.
And that's the Detmers that we get 40% of the time, Mike. Every now and then there's a flash of hey, look at that guy.
Right.
But just really frustrating. Ryan Johnson came in to finish the inning, and the play that was made was really good. Chapman grounded to third. Rengifo made this awesome throw deep from behind third, and Shawnoel had to dance around the runner to catch the ball and make the out. So Johnson finished with 1 1/3 innings pitched and didn't give up anything in his outing. It was fun to watch him in person. Hopefully you get to see him on Wednesday.
Now, bottom 9, the Angels did threaten. Mike Trout led things off, had a deep fly out to left field by the Jersey Mike sign at Angel Stadium. That would have been a home run in 16 other ballparks. And Trout said if it was later on in the year, it certainly would have gone out because it would have been warmer. Then Soler follows with a single, and then Tim Anderson pinch runs, and then O'Hoppe grounds to third. This was frustrating because O'Hoppe was struggling all weekend long, swings at the first pitch. But he did ground to third. Chapman falls down, but because he's so good, he's able to make the throw to first. John, I was a little bit irritated because O'Hoppe's running to first, and I know he's our best friend, but he's running to first base. He should have beat that ball out. But he gets close to first base, and there's some stutter step, and he wasn't hustling out of the box. And I think he would have made it if he was hustling out of the box. And then his stutter step before first base, it was like a pop, 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 and then he hit the bag. If he stretched out, he would have beaten that throw because Chapman was on his butt, rolling around, grabbing the ball. And I know he's got a great arm, but with some hustle, you're standing on first base and you're giving the Angels an opportunity to get back and maybe even take the lead in this game.
If I remember correctly, there was a moment with Logan O'Hoppe, I think swinging at a 3-1 pitch.
Yes.
And it was bro, you took a walk an inning ago. What are you doing? You know? And so it really feels like, Mike, that some of these guys need a reset. They need to, hopefully this winning series will do that. And like Tyler Anderson said after Friday's game, they had to turn the page and get back to the guys that they were. I hope that's something that they can continue to do. So they lost 3-2, still had a great time. Still had a lot of fun. Happy to hang out with my buddy and take him for his birthday. So they were 10-10 at this point, and now 3-2 at home.
Sunday's game, there were some lineup changes. Kairen Paris was out. Tim Anderson was in. Adell moved from 9 to 8. John, Kairen Paris started off really, really great. He was hitting 400, 5 home runs with a 14.02 OPS first 13 games. Since then, 1 for 17 with 10 strikeouts. He's now hitting 288, but he still has a 1018 OPS. Wash that. I just wanted to give him a mental day and then take another day on Monday and then come back strong. One of the things that Wash did say as well after Saturday's game was that this is the lineup. Like, these are the guys that we're going to be relying on. These are our starters. And so they need to figure it out. I love that because he's saying, like, we're not going to try to throw in Kevin Newman and think that that's going to solve the problem, or
right.
even Tim Anderson, right? Like, these are the guys that are going to be in our lineup. And so I love that he's allowing them to kind of figure some things out. And we knew that there would be a slump with Kairen Paris. He wasn't going to be Joe DiMaggio for his entire season, right? And so that was something that I think was needed for him to take a break, because I want to see this guy continue to do well. But he's not the only guy that was struggling offensively. This team was struggling offensively all weekend long and have for the last few series. So his 1 for 17 with 10 strikeouts kind of looks exactly like almost everybody else in that starting lineup, right?
Yeah. 1 for 22, Mike Trout, right? Like, it's the same kind of situation. But Mike, I think if you consider who Kairen Paris is, 23 years old, gets off to a hot start, and then the rest of your team is struggling, you feel like, hey, I've had some clutch moments. I've been able to come through. I think he's doing too much.
Yeah.
I think that he's really pressing out there, and it feels really obvious. Now, he did say that pitchers have begun to work him differently. Again, this is a game of adjustments. Paris is crushing it, so everyone studies video on, hey, how do we keep this guy from crushing us? And so they do that. And he said they're throwing a lot more sinkers. That's been the biggest thing, especially in the Giants series. They have more sinker ball pitchers. They've definitely been throwing sinkers in. For me, it's just getting something better, getting a better pitch, and I'll be able to put a good swing on it.
Yeah.
That feels true. It feels like he's swinging over a lot of stuff if you watch him up close when he's striking out.
Now, you talked about, like, clearing your head and having a better approach. I'm going to jump to the bottom of the ninth, Johnny, because that's when everything really just started to take fire. So Mike Trout walks, and then Jorge Soler singles, and then Logan O'Hoppe singles. And so the bases are loaded. It drives me nuts, by the way, when there's a runner at second, and it's just it's a single that doesn't score somebody because they held up. And I get that they're being cautious, but I'm like, man, you got to hustle there.
Well, and it was 1 out too.
Yeah,
and
it makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense. But I'm just like, man, I need you, again, be spatially aware and game aware of, like, where things are at, because that might have been a good moment for them to maybe get a bigger lead at second base.
I don't know. I'm thinking about, EY Senior over there. He's had some bad sends in the last year. So the fact that he held Trout up there at third base, I'm not mad about it, especially after they squandered that bases loaded situation earlier in the game, Mike.
Yes.
That was incredibly frustrating. So the fact that, it's 4-1, they've got 1 out. Well, I guess at that point it wasn't 1 out, because that 1 out came with Nolan Shawnoel after Jorge Soler. And so, they keep us going with the ninth inning there.
Yeah. So then Zach Neto comes up with 1 out, gets hit in the stomach, in the
right
ribs.
in the gut. Talk about making a difference.
Right.
I mean, he had that solo homer, which put the Angels on the board, but it was 4-1.
Yeah.
And it was like, man, what are they doing here? This isn't going to happen, is it? And then it most certainly did.
Right. Yeah. 4-2 brings up Joe Adell. Now here's where I want to talk about making the adjustment. Joe Adell said after the game that Mike Trout told him in the on deck circle, hey bro, just nice and easy.
Yeah.
Nice and easy. No
Don't be
home
the
runs.
hero.
Just nice and easy. Don't be a hero. And Joe, I love this. Joe said that meant a lot, and it actually resonated with him.
Yeah.
And so he gets up there, and Johnny rips a double down the left field line. Now, I like home runs, but you've heard me on this show say so often that home runs can sometimes be a rally killer.
I'm with you.
I love doubles down that left field line at Angel Stadium, because you can run for days, can't you?
Yeah. Imagine for a second that, you have a runner on, and let's say Soler hits a home run and Trout scores, right? Then it's 4-3.
Yeah.
But now the bases are empty.
Right.
And that pitcher on the mound has no one to think about
right
there except for the hitter. And so I think the difference here, Mike, and why you say that sometimes, like, home runs could be a rally killer, because now this guy is working with the bases loaded. He just hit Zach Neto in the gut, so he's wild, and he He's got to deal with everybody on base. He can't make a wild pitch. He can't have a pass ball. He can't give up another run.
Got to be perfect.
He's got to be perfect. And so I think that's the difference here, is that if the bases were to be cleared with a 2-run home run, the Angels are still down. The guy no longer has to be perfect. He can put somebody on if he wants to. He can give up a single if he wants to. Heck, even a home run, a solo shot would just tie the game, right? But you're still in it. So I think I am 100% with you when it comes to bases loaded situation. Hitting the double down the line is so much more fun sometimes, especially like you said, they can run for days. And Zach Neto certainly ran for days and did the nice little head first slide into home, and Joe Adell celebrated at second base. So that was really exciting to see too.
Now, this offense was great in the bottom of the ninth. Them coming back was great, but I don't want to skip over Yusei Kikuchi's start. 5 1/3, 5 hits, 4 walks, 6 Ks, 102 pitches. Had a couple of innings, John, where he had to show some grit, and he got in and out of those innings, got himself into a bit of a jam, got out of those situations. John, this is the first start he's had this year that he didn't go a full 6 innings. But these 5 1/3, man, he really grinded it out. And I know that in other rotations, he's probably not an ace, but on our team, he is. And he pitched like an ace. Needs to clean up the walks, I think, but he pitched like an ace for us on Sunday, kept us in the game, and somebody that I actually have a lot of confidence in when he's starting on the mound for the Halos.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's had some dumb luck losses, when it comes to his start so far with the Halos. But, I know he got pulled pretty early, but he was at 102 pitches. And people are asking about, why did Brock Burke replace him? It was one lefty for another. I mean, look, Brock Burke's one of the better relievers in the pen right now.
Right.
And Wash ended up using a combination of Ian Anderson and Michael Darrell Hicks to keep the Angels in the game. And it was 4-1 in the by the bottom of the ninth, but fortunately for them, they had that rally and things went their way. And so it was one of those situations where you got to go with your best guy, because Zephyr John pitched already. Even Reed Detmers pitched a ton on Saturday night. So there really wasn't a lot of options to go to after Kikuchi. I don't know if you trust Garrett McDaniels in that situation. I wouldn't have. And so for him to make that move, I get the frustration, because he obviously gave up that home run to Sam Huff. And so that made it a 3-1 lead. And again, first home run for Sam Huff since 2023. Of course, we have to make somebody like that look really good. Look, ugly at times, great at times. But they walked away with a series win against a really good NL West team right now, who are neck and neck with the Padres and the Dodgers, and even the Diamondbacks are sneaking back in there as well.
One final thought. I know that they had to review Zach Neto scoring at the end of the game to make sure he got in, right? Can we just go to the best video of that instead of 14 other videos that are on Mount Everest that we're like, well, we can't tell from that one. That's because it's 9,000 miles away. Can we just go to the best video? I hate that. Left field shot, foul pole shot. Oh, hey, by the way, here's one that's right on home plate. Why didn't you show that one the first time?
Here's one angle of the play. Well, you can't really see from that perspective. That's how it always goes. So
that was great.
That's a fun visual for you on the video side.
Hey, thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. Now for your second listen, check out Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. And you can find the show on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, be sure you give us a follow on Twitter at Locked On Angels and at Super Halo Bros on Twitter and Instagram. Whether you're watching or listening, come on over to YouTube, find today's show, get in the comment section, because we'd love to hear from you. We always do our best to get back to everybody in our comment section. Mike, what do we have on deck for Tuesday's show?
Well, no game tonight, so we're going to actually talk some details tomorrow's show. We're going to talk about Tyler Anderson and his good start and compare it to last year's good start. And then, John, I want you to answer this question. Not yet, tomorrow. Are you concerned about Tyler Anderson's good start because of what happened last year? We're going to talk about that tomorrow on Locked On Angels.
All right, looking forward to that conversation. Until then, my name is John, and that's my brother Mike.
And my name is Mike, and that's my brother John.
Thanks for being here, everybody, and we'll see you back here on Tuesday.
All right, we've got the Mount Everest cam to make sure that this is a safer out.